It's about to get real, keep it live, that's right. From Pennsylvania to across the globe, it's time for the Steelers All-Star Show.
Welcome to the Steelers by the Lake podcast. My name is James Strong, joined once again by my co-host Jill from Ohio, aka the Pittsburgh daughter. Jill, how you doing this wonderful, still kind of chilly Saturday morning?
Still kind of chilly Saturday morning. You know, I could be better. For those of you that don't know, I have type 1 diabetes, and so last night was a little bit rough for me. We woke up with a insulin pump that ripped out of my body, so I had super high blood sugar this morning, but it's still a great day. We're here to talk lots of Steelers football. James, how you doing this morning?
I'm doing well. That's why we're on these sugar-free Alani Energy.
We're twins today.
What? You serious?
Oh, I love that.
Did we just become best friends?
Yeah. Want to go do karate in the basement?
That's it. We're all vibes this morning. Down a couple of our brothers who couldn't make this morning's show. So we're going to power through and we're going to try to put our best foot forward here. But wanted to do a shout out. We're doing a new thing of shouting out people who comment on YouTube. So from last week's episode, I'm Happy 662 on YouTube pointed out Mike Wagner, the great Mike Wagner from the 1970s Steelers defense, wore number 23. We didn't think about that until we got further into the list, reading on who was previously wearing that number of significance. That's probably the most significant Steeler in history, I'd say. That was a great point out by you. So we appreciate that. Always want your feedback on YouTube or anywhere else. As we continue towards today's show, we had a bunch of the rookies sign, 4 more of them. Cornerback Dalen Everett, who was number 23 in this year's class. Jennings Dunker, the guard that we're all very excited about from Iowa. Fullback Riley Nowakowski. And then just yesterday, Maxi Hanachor signing his rookie deal, our first-round offensive tackle. Jill, any thoughts, any feelings on any of these guys?
I'm happy about all of them. It's quite ironic to see your first rounder signed before your second rounder. But if you listen to Steelers Depot, which we love them here, they talked about how the guy that got drafted after Jeremy Bernard got a fully guaranteed contract. And so we expect that his contract is going to be fully guaranteed, and it's going to take a little bit longer to settle exactly what that looks like and the language behind that. But I'm expecting that will get done here shortly. So,
yeah. So for those of you unfamiliar with the process, every year it kind of pushes further and back. So like all first round picks, their deals are 100% fully guaranteed, all 4 years of the deal. The second round guys, the first 3 years of the deal are fully guaranteed, but it's the 4th year that it depends on where you're drafted as to whether or not it's fully guaranteed. So that's why it's such a significant thing, is that previous years, guys at the position behind Jeremy Bernard were not getting a fully guaranteed contract. In fact, the person at his position last year got like 80 or 82%. I forget what the number is, one of those two, fully guaranteed of the 4th year of his rookie deal. So you would expect his deal to be somewhere between 80% and 100% on that 4th year. Just give him the whole thing and let's just call this. Yeah. Let's make sure this kid's in these camp practices, because he could be a very important part of the future for the Steelers. Some reports out of minicamp. We've got a little bit of clarity on what's going on these offensive linemen. We had nothing but questions. We now know Hanachor started at right tackle. Dunker starting at left guard. This doesn't mean that's where they're going to be when the season starts, but a little bit of clarity for us. How do you feel about those positions for those guys, Joe?
I mean, I feel like that's what we talked about, and that's kind of what we were speculating since we drafted them. And we've talked, like, if any time to make changes or to see if something works, it's now. It's in this training camp. And so why not put them in all the positions that you want to see them in and see how it fits, see what drives the best. And I think it's a great idea. So, but again, like you said, James, we don't know if that's where they'll end up, or we'll see like some versatility. We could see them potentially switching spots or whatever. I'm not going to get too crazy, but if ever a time for an offensive coaching staff like we have to get crazy, go ahead and get crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, this is it. Try guys out everywhere and let's see
Mhm.
who's comfortable where. It's such a young group. And the great thing to me about this group, like the core group, we're not moving Zach Frazier, so we don't have to worry about that. The center stays at center.
Right.
But like last year, Mason McCormick looked great at right guard. Where did he play most of his college ball? Left guard.
Mhm.
So if he needed to go to left guard, he could go to left guard. He's already done it and done it at a high level in college.
Mhm.
Our right tackle, Troy Fautanu, he played left tackle in college, but he played great as a right tackle for us. He actually has better arm length than Maxi Hanachor has. So if
Mhm.
you're worried about arm length, well, whatever. His is better than Hanachor's. You can throw him on the left, and he did it at a high level at Oregon in college.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm highly optimistic about them just moving people around and figuring out what's best. And I think you should move these guys in the preseason as much as possible. Let's line them up differently almost every week and see what the best combination is.
Yeah.
I know some people worry about moving them around, but I feel like moving an offensive lineman is usually more successful than it is not.
So I think, and this might be just a question of ignorance. So, avid Steelers fan has never played a down of football in her entire life. So, but like being on a certain side, like to me, it makes more sense to be versatile where you could line up on either side because then you're relying on your whole body quickness and not just one side quickness. So I guess I'm like, well, why not, try on both sides to see, because then you're developing, I feel like, the whole package instead of just like, I default to this side because I'm quicker on this side, like, or I have a quick first step on this side and that's my default. And so that's what I'm leaning into kind of thing. So
Yeah.
like, is there a benefit to like being dominant on one side? Help a girl out.
Yeah.
I'm like, line up on both sides because you're an insane athlete. Like,
Yeah, especially a guy like Maxi Hanachor, right? This is the most athletic offensive lineman we've seen in Pittsburgh in a very long time, maybe ever. You don't see 320-pound guys running 4.9 40s
no.
and still being that big and strong on top of it. So, yeah, I think that it's more common for your backup guys to have to learn both sides, right?
Yeah, right.
But your starters, I think people just get nervous about moving them around like it's going to mess them up. And I would say for every one time you run into a situation like Kevin Dotson, who played much better on one side as a guard than he did the other side, you run into 10 to 15 guys who just move throughout their career from one position to another. I remember back Super Bowl 43, we picked up a guard from Detroit by the name of Jeff Hardings. He was not an experienced guy at center. He'd played a couple snaps at center. What did we do? We put him at center, and he played really well at center, and we won a Super Bowl with him at center. A lot of offensive tackles, too, if you remember back in those days, Marvell Smith was the right tackle. Marvell moved over to the left, and he was very good on the left. Max Starks, when we get into Ben Roethlisberger's career, he started as a right tackle. Once Marvell Smith retired, he moved over to the left and took his job and played very well as a left tackle. It's not an uncommon thing for these guys to move from one side to another, but not everybody does it well.
Yeah.
I remember Ramon Foster once saying that it's like writing with the wrong hand. So everything is like completely different on your movements, and it's left foot first instead of right foot first, and left hand first instead of right hand first, or whatever it may be for that position. And some guys that's just natural, and some guys it isn't.
That makes sense. I mean, we saw with Broderick Jones, moving him to the right side, or his unnatural side. It did not work out well for us.
He's
swing and a miss.
Absolutely seems to be better at the left side than the right side. So, his guy and Dan Moore. God, Dan Moore couldn't play right side at all, and wasn't necessarily good at left, but he was worse at right.
Like lesser evil here.
Yeah, and that's what they did, right? They did the lesser of the two evils and stuck on the side. But one thing I think we can both agree on that is never evil is Chris Boswell.
I saved the open because Nick wanted us to. So,
absolutely.
Pause.
Nick in the woods hunting turkeys again this week. But Chris Boswell just hunting millions of dollars and sinking every 3-pointer you ask him to. So getting a 4-year, $28 million extension, tying the record in the NFL. He is now tied as the highest paid kicker in the NFL currently. And deserves it in every way, in my opinion.
100%.
Yeah, he was even talking last year about trying to get an extension, but he did everything the way he was supposed to. He was patient, and he really got paid. So I was surprised by the length, to be honest with you. Isn't he like 33 or 34 or something by now? I want to say he's up there a little bit. And kickers can kick into their 40s, but
right. But I'm like, I don't know if I fully expect him to be kicking up until that 4th year, but he's been healthy, and knock on every wood you have, he'll be healthy the next 4 years, hopefully, and kick great for us, Hopefully, the goal would be that we don't have a repeat of what was that 24, whatever his record-breaking season was. As much as I would love that for him personally, I would not love that for us as a team. So you hope to think that like we can preserve his leg health if we are able to produce more touchdowns like we should be able to this year, and not rely so much on him being our lone scorer of the game.
Yeah.
Where he's kicking 6+ field goals in windy conditions. It's already hard to kick in Hines, Acrisure, whatever you want to call it. So, I mean, he's definitely one of the best of the best. This money is well deserved. I was intrigued that it was a 4-year contract, but I think it's still well deserved no matter what.
Yeah, absolutely. And it turns out he's 35 right now. So he's got 1 year remaining on his previous deal and then 4 years on top of it. So this takes him up to age 40.
You know what? You know what, boss? I hope you do it. I hope you do it because we love you here. You're a national treasure.
That is why for years and years on this podcast, we have always said Boz for president.
Boz for president. And you know what? I was on the hunt when I was at the draft for a Boz jersey. And now I'm just convinced I'm going to have to get one because we've got him kicking in his 40s. Beautiful. Well worth it.
And I saw a chart the other day of his career in his completion percentage of his field goal kicks. He has a better completion percentage in the 50+ range than he does in the 40 to 49. That's incredible. And it's not that it's a bad percentage in 40 to 49. It's like 83% there, but 85% in the 50 pluses. It's like, my Lord.
And really, he only, like, you look at his seasons, he is so reliable all the time, which we've talked before where we thought, Mike Tomlin used that to a fault where we wouldn't get aggressive with trying to get a first down because we knew Boz could get us 3 points. So I'm hoping with the McCarthy regime that is not necessarily the case. They know we have him, but it's not going to be so heavily relied on him. But overall, he has had great seasons besides the one season where he was playing through the injury, right? Like it just that was the off season for him. And that was it. And he was a 4th stringer. Like when you think about the dude that he was a 4th string kicker. And look at him now.
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, that was a season where our starting kicker went down. We traded for some dude from Jacksonville that was awful. And then went through a couple other guys. It seemed like before Boswell came and win a competition with someone else and then just never gave up the job again because he's been so doggone good. So
this is mine now.
Yeah. and I love that he's going to go down in history as like the best kicker in Steelers history. And the old heads that listen or watch this show, people my age or older will remember Gary Anderson back in the 80s and 90s, and he was a very reliable kicker. In fact, he was like the scoring leader for the Steelers for a long time because of how many kicks he made. But once you got to 50 yards, he couldn't get it. Like 50 and beyond, forget about it. It was not happening. Yeah. And it's nice because now we're in a situation where we're like, it's got to be probably 63 or 64 yards for me to start questioning whether or not Boz can make it.
Mm-hmm.
And he's a beanpole.
I know.
He's not like some huge, massive dude. He's like 6'3", 185 pounds, and he can bomb it 60 yards, no problem. I love it.
Dude's beast. Boss for president.
Boss for president, no doubt. So moving on from the Boswell news, some other transactions. We did see the completion to the career of Corey Trice as a Pittsburgh Steeler. We'll pour one out for poor Corey. Unfortunately, he was a late round pick because of his history with injuries in college and even into high school, I believe. Mm-hmm. And that followed him into the pros.
Yeah.
He only got something like 200 snaps in 2024. Outside of that, he didn't play at all in 23 or at all in 25 because he was injured the entire season both times.
Yeah. It was constantly new injuries. Like it wasn't just the knee, it was the ankle. It was like just injury after injury.
Yeah.
Which you hate to see that.
Yeah, absolutely. And that was exactly the case. Like you mentioned last year, he had one injury, comes back from that one, gets taken off of the IR just to injure his knee in the process. And it sounded like it was an ACL. Man. The failed physical designation means it's something different from the ACL now, which is crazy.
This poor kid.
Yeah, he just can't stay healthy. He's got the worst luck in the world when it comes to injuries. Because if this was the same injury, for 100% clarity for folks, he would have been put on the physically unable to perform list. Mm-hmm. If he still had not recovered from that injury that happened while as a member of the Steelers last season, you can't put him, you can't waive him injured. That's not an option. So the failed physical does mean, unfortunately, he's got something else going on again.
Yeah.
Best of luck to Corey Trice. We wish the best for him. Hopefully he gets a shot to heal up and maybe play some Canadian ball or some UFL or something like that. But doesn't look like his chances in Pittsburgh are ever happening again at this point.
No. And we talked a little bit in the pre-show, and we talked at the end of last year, kind of figuring that this would be the end of his career, at least in Pittsburgh. I mean, maybe potentially one more year if he was healthy, but the fact that he just couldn't clear the physical with a brand new injury that we don't know about, because they don't have to specify what the injury is. They just say that he failed the physical.
Correct.
So that is just unfortunate for him, because he did show promise when he was healthy. Like the tape that he put out was good. It just the injuries, man, they prevented him from that. So maybe he will heal up and get a chance somewhere else, but this is like year 4 or 5 that he's been injured. It's just rough.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, this is going into what would have been his 4th season. So
yeah, that's
horrible luck for him. So you hate to see that. On opposite end of the spectrum, we did get someone who was signed from the rookie tryout, which is his center by the name of Greg Crippen. Greg played for Michigan. So he's a Wolverine, and many of those going on this team here. But a regular-sized dude. He's like 6'3", 301, short arms. Ran like a 5'6", 40 at the combine.
Arms. We know how James feels about him.
This is not someone I would expect to compete for a starting position by any means. But when you're trying to fill out a 90-man roster, when you're trying to do these preseason games and be able to put forward a competent offense and have people who can handle those 3rd and 4th string defensive linemen in the preseason and give your young quarterbacks a chance to execute the offense, this is a good person to add to the group. Yeah. So I don't have any fantasy that I think this man's going to beat Brock Hoffman or Ryan McCollum or one of these guys off of the roster. I don't think that's the case. But he has enough experience and enough good tape out there to be competent to help you be able to execute offensive game plans, to see Drew Aller and Will Howard in the preseason, late in that 3rd quarter, maybe even in the 4th quarter in these games. You don't have to worry about people coming unblocked right up the middle and this guy not knowing what to do. He's going to be pointing out, you got this guy, I got that guy kind of stuff. So I like this level of competition being brought in, even with me not having expectations of him being able to make the roster, some of those 90-man dudes are just to fill specific needs. And you do need a third center that's capable. And you don't want to, in my opinion, like, I want to see Brock Hoffman snap some balls in the preseason. Okay, you don't want to know that this guy can do it. But he's also going to be competing for a starting guard position. So is Spencer Anderson. Like, we got a three-way battle going on at that left guard position, and I want that to happen. So to keep them out of having to do other things and competing for that starting job, you need somebody that can play center.
Yeah.
So I don't mind it one bit.
Yeah. Well, exactly what you're saying. You've got it's a great indication that Pittsburgh's looking at the whole picture and not just filling those immediate or looking two-dimensional. And maybe this is something where we're noticing because we've heard that McCarthy is this QB whisperer. So these are the protocols and the practices that they're putting into place so that these quarterbacks can actually have the snaps that they need, which was a great point, James. Like, you want to see meaningful snaps. You don't want to see them fighting for their lives out there, because realistically, Rodgers goes down, whoever the heck is out at quarterback goes down. We still don't know, whatever. But they go down, and you're going to put in Howard or you'll put in Aller, and you're going to have a competent center who's there, who's able to call out those things. And so why would you put them on the field in preseason with a center who doesn't know what, wouldn't do that same thing? You want to prep them for the actual season as much as you can. That's the whole point of preseason. So
absolutely. Yeah. So I think an understated move. I like the move, regardless of the fact I don't expect him to make the team. But you never know, maybe a practice squad guy down the road.
Right.
He impressed enough out of a rookie mini camp to get signed, and no one else did. So that says something in itself.
Yeah.
In addition to Greg Crippen, the Steelers did also bring in an undrafted free agent from the 2025 class, Makari Page, a 6'3", 397-pound safety / slot corner with a decent amount of slot corner experience from his college film. I think that this is probably directly tied to the Corey Trice thing, which also makes me think that maybe they really like his tape as a slot corner. So, I mean, Corey was not a slot corner by any means. He was an outside corner. But do you necessarily bring another safety in where a corner goes down, or is it more about the fact that we still don't have this deal done yet with Darnell
Savage?
which I mean, is happening at this point.
No, but there are still rumors that, like, it will get done. And I'm like, why is it taking this long for it to get done? If it's going to get done, like, I don't have high hopes at this point that Savage is coming to Pittsburgh. But so that would make sense that Page would come in as that slot cornerback.
Yeah. Specifically
since this deal looks like it's not getting done.
Yeah. And if it does, he's so far behind now on stuff.
Right.
I mean, sure, he played in Green Bay for a while there, so you would think maybe there's going to be some similarities from the McCarthy days. I don't think there's any overlap from McCarthy, though. I don't think he's old enough to have been there when McCarthy was there.
I don't think so.
But I don't know. This is at least a plus-size guy, big guy, long, 4'5", 640, 32.5-inch vertical, and a 10-foot broad jump. So he's got some good athleticism and size. You could do a lot worse than a guy of that size. So
you could do a lot worse. You've seen Pittsburgh do worse, so we're good.
Yeah. How many little midget corners have we marched out there just hoping that they were going to be able to do something? And Mike Hilton was the only one that ever really did out of the small corners.
Oh,
So we've got a couple more big things that we're talking about today. We told you last week we were going to talk about fullbacks and tight ends. We're going to do that. But obviously the schedule release is here, and this is an exceedingly important thing.
Yes.
But I feel like before we even get to the schedule release, there's something else that we have to discuss, and that is our friends at the Edinburgh Hotel Bar. Because if you don't know where to go for a meal and you're in the Edinburgh area, let me tell you, you can get a nice meal there. They've got nice cold beverage options also. Supporters of Steelers by the Lake include the Edinburgh Hotel Bar, located at 100 Meadville Street in downtown Edinburgh, offering daily lunch and dinner specials from 11 a.m. to 2 a.m. For more information, call 814-734-5600. 5103 or visit edinburghhotelbar.com.
The Edinburgh Hotel Bar, where you had us at a hotel.
Absolutely. But big things happening this week here. The schedule release has happened.
Yes.
And the beginning of the schedule release for us might also add a third co-host to the show here. It looks like maybe we're being joined by Cody here. It looks like he's
Cody, as we live and breathe.
I'm barely living and I'm barely breathing, but you know what? I'm here.
Both. Wait, look at the crew neck. Okay, like the crew neck. Very nice. Yeah.
Some Steelers by the Lake merch. Cody, how you feeling this morning? I assume pretty tired.
Tired as crap, man. But you know what? God has blessed me to wake up another day, and so I'm going to take full advantage of that. Just a little later than I wanted to wake up. So, obviously, I don't know what you guys have talked about up to this point, but obviously schedule release, and I'll get that image up for you guys here in just a second once I find it.
Yeah, so basically we just did all the roster transactions from the week, all the odds and ends news. So we've got the schedule release left and then the fullback and tight end roster battle. Pittsburgh starting off with a home game this year. This does not happen very often for Pittsburgh. We've got a home game versus the Falcons.
But wait, our first preseason game is against Green Bay.
That's fun.
What an interesting narrative that is.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's an interesting one for sure.
Like, we were playing Green Bay. We have Mike McCarthy now. Interesting. Anyway.
And of course, the Rodgers side to that, too, assuming that he comes back again, which, all accounts are that he's in Pittsburgh currently right now. But there's so much hush-hush on whether or not there's been any meetings. Who knows what we can even believe right now.
I mean, really, it's our preseason spells a Rodgers comeback because we play the Packers and then we play the Jets.
Yeah.
So if Rodgers doesn't come back, why is that our preseason?
Yeah, really. We played both of his former teams. That's
right.
Weird.
And then we get to see Buffalo's brand new stadium on that final preseason game. So that should be fun to see what that looks like. They've been working on that one for a while.
That will be.
So I'm imagining that's going to be a pretty beautiful stadium.
Yeah.
It better be.
No, Falcons, though. Falcons to start the season. I really like this. I'm going to be honest with you guys.
Okay.
A home game versus the Falcons. I don't look at the Falcons as some juggernaut team. I think this is a young team that definitely has holes in the roster, and I like that being an opening game. I think there's a real good chance Pittsburgh starting off on the right foot with that one.
I love that we have a home opener because those are few and far in between, and I think I was hearing like it's because of the Pirates. Normally, like the Pirates are in town, and we all know Pittsburgh would implode if they had two.
Yeah,
teams.
Pittsburgh would not go well.
It would just sink into the river. But it didn't during the draft, so I have hope that they could do that. But anyway, so it being a home opener, I thought was really exciting. And not only that, but we are historically successful against the Falcons when we play them at home. So
yep,
that spells a W for me. I'm not gonna go with bold predictions just yet.
Oh, we're gonna get to those. Not today, but we are gonna get to those.
Yeah, absolutely. That'll be a show coming soon to a Steelers by the Lake podcast near you.
The last time Pittsburgh lost to Atlanta was in 2006, by the way, and it was in overtime.
See,
wow.
20 years ago.
And the time before that was 2002, and we tied in overtime.
Which was so long ago, it was pre-Ben Roethlisberger.
Yep. The last loss before that was the 70s. Was 1970.
See.
We're going to be talking about some of that stuff later on when we get to the Philadelphia Eagles, and that's
no, I don't want to talk about that. Not against the Eagles. No.
Yeah, Pittsburgh leads the all-time series against the Atlanta Falcons 16-2-1.
That's pretty good.
It's pretty good math right there.
Math is nothing.
We'll take it.
Starting with the Falcons, obviously not a big thing, and they got Tua this year, so that's going to be interesting if they decide to roll with him.
Better not put him on the field, man. That'd be a horrible. They don't have a choice probably, but week 2 though, I'm a little bit more concerned about that. The Patriots actually looked like a pretty solid football team last year, although their playoff run was really good luck for them. They didn't have to play against home Knicks. When they played Houston didn't really do much against them either. And so I don't know that maybe this team might be a little bit overrated. But it is in New England, so you expect there to be things that happen that go in their favor. And in week 2, that's definitely going to be a very good litmus test for what these Steelers are, as to where I don't think the Falcons necessarily are.
No, and the 2 weeks after that, even the same thing. I'm not going to rush through this too much, but obviously Bengals and Browns, the 2 first division games, which is crazy that we play the other 2 division teams by week. We play 2 of the 3 division teams by week 4. We don't play the other one until week 15, which is crazy.
Well, and we close out the Browns before the bye. Again, sorry, I'm kind of jumping.
No, that's okay. That's okay. But week 3 at home against the Bengals is the first one. I don't even count the Patriots, James, which is, I mean, if you do, that's fine. The Patriots to me is still, with everything else going on with that team and that coach and the distractions happening, I don't think that team is going to be ready to play football until a few weeks in, quite frankly.
But that was true last year too. Like we beat the Patriots last year in Foxborough, right? Wasn't that last season?
Yep.
And
I'm not worried about Drake May. I'm just not.
Okay.
But the Bengals could be the first real test in my mind.
Well, I mean, I don't think it's a sleeper, because we talk about this all the time. The minute we think it's an easy team or it should be an easy W, it never is. And every one of these games could throw us for a loop. So it could be that the Patriots, I mean, they were the champs of the AFC. So they have some stock and some merit to them. I don't know if by week 2 they'll be ready. But that was also true, I feel like, last season when we played them. It was early in the season, and they just were not ready, and we took advantage of that. So if we could repeat that, I'm good.
One thing that's been consistent with Cincinnati for years now is their defense is never ready. And that's why that does not really scare me on the schedule in any way. A 1:00 game in Acrisure Stadium. I expect Pittsburgh to take care of business on that game. Just because, Cincinnati made some moves to try to help their defense out, but they lost their best defensive player at the same point in time.
Right.
So, did they do enough to counteract that? Or are they really going to be, they got a lot of moving pieces on that defense, and it might take a while for them to figure out, we're supposed to tackle that guy with the ball over there, because they really don't do that and haven't done that in a long time. So, to me, it's all about, did Pittsburgh do enough on their defense to slow down the passing game of the Bengals? And I do like the changes. I think Jamel Dean at corner is a drastic upgrade from what we tried to march out there last year with Jalen Ramsey and with the guy from Philadelphia that didn't do very well for us either, and we ended up cutting halfway through the season. I think this is a drastically better plan going into this year.
Yeah. I'm not looking forward to that week 4 game, because it is Thursday night in Cleveland, which we do not do well in. The stat lines.
Mike Tomlin didn't do well in.
Well, Pittsburgh in general doesn't do well on Thursday games. So the history is real bad against Pittsburgh on Thursday night away games. Away game being the key here. But in the last 5 years, we have played an away Thursday night against division opponents and lost every single time, 3 of them to the Browns, 1 to the Ravens, 1 to the Bengals. So that's 3 times in the last 5 years the Browns have gotten the advantage of a short week and a home game versus us, which is kind of crazy. It seems like there's a couple of things on this schedule this year that seem very much so like a Mike Vrabel, Diana Rossini thing. Like, who's sleeping with who to get this easy part of the schedule? Because Cleveland is getting some gift-wrapped stuff going on there in Philadelphia too, but we're going to talk about that later on. But for real, for me, like a short week and then going to Cleveland, knowing that we've had these struggles on Thursday night away games on in-division opponents, that one should scare us.
Yeah.
That one should scare us. Yeah, I hope that Mike McCarthy has a different strategy going into this than what Mike Tomlin did, because the success was not there under Mike Tomlin's tenure as far as away games Thursday night in division. But yeah, I'm with you, Jill. That one's a big red flag for me.
I will not be going to that because I went to the Thursday night. What was that? 2 seasons ago. It was on my birthday.
Oh,
I went and it was a blizzard because lake effect snow is very real.
oh yeah.
Some people don't understand that.
That was so crazy to experience that. But it was I sat like this the whole time. I would wave my and then of course, the last 2 minutes of the game where they give me false hope and then they lose anyway. So it just was anyway. So I will not be going to that game on
Don't blame you.
petitioning. No, thank you.
Don't blame you. Week 5, then we're home again against the Colts. That is going to be, in my mind, probably one of the more exciting games. I think that's, obviously Michael Pittman Jr. going up against his former team. They still have Jonathan Taylor. Obviously their quarterback situation is a question mark. Daniel Jones, if he's healthy.
Yeah, that's a huge question mark, right?
Massive question mark. But I think at week 5, they'll at least know who's going to be the guy moving forward if it's not him.
But he's coming off of an Achilles tear, so he might not even be healthy by week 5.
That's my point is they'll have, if it's not him, they'll have at least 4 weeks before that to try to get in some kind of rhythm with whoever the heck they decide to put back there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if it's Anthony Richardson again, they could have 4 decades. It isn't enough time to make that guy a good quarterback.
That's true.
It's just not happening with some people in the NFL. And I don't think they came up with a great plan. Now, I don't recall exactly what they did. I think they brought in a veteran of some sort, but I don't remember being amazed by who the veteran was that the Colts brought in as the QB to kind of fill in the gap there.
They didn't.
They didn't bring anybody in.
I mean, they have Daniel Jones, Anthony Richardson, Riley Leonard, and Seth Hennigan. That's the 4 quarterbacks.
Yeah, that's great for Pittsburgh because that means we're probably going to see Anthony Richardson if Daniel Jones isn't ready. And if it is Daniel Jones, we were the team to expose him last year.
Yeah, we were. I was going to say they were like
2 years ago.
They were fake good. So,
yeah.
Looks like we go away. Oh, week 6. Is that week 6? Yes.
Yeah, week 6 away to the Buccaneers. Go to Tampa.
I don't like that we're going a little bit. I'm jumping ahead, but I don't like that we're going away and then going away again.
Away.
I don't like the amount of travel. I mean, that could just be a me thing, but it's like I would have preferred to see a home game here, then go abroad.
Yeah.
But at least so far overall, what I like about this schedule is that we're not leaving the time zone besides going across the pond and the Titans, which is only an hour.
No, and the Black Friday game. The Black Friday, we're going to. Oh, wait, we're home. No. I apologize.
No, I was like, everything's in our time zone.
That's true. That's crazy.
Which is really good besides the
Paris.
This game, but
yeah, Tampa will be a fun one, right? Because we get to see Baker Mayfield again, who's had some success against Pittsburgh. Yep. Jamel Dean should be highly motivated because that team moved on from him to go in a younger direction. So you would think that Jamel will be very highly motivated to try to put his best foot forward in that game. Mike Evans moved on from Tampa Bay, so they don't have old faithful Mike Evans in the room there. But you do have the younger stars in Emeka Ibuka that you need to be concerned about. So hopefully Joey Porter draws that matchup and not Jamel Dean. Because I like that youth on youth there. Let's talk about this France matchup, though. We get to see Pittsburgh in Paris, week 7, a 9:30 a.m. kickoff. The Saints are the home team, which makes sense. And I'll be on the griddle in the morning making pancakes right before the game. That's why not, right?
Right. I like a 9:30 game. I mean, I know a bunch of people are mad about that. And then I was hearing, because you think we would have gone to the Saints. And so I feel kind of bad for Steeler fans there. But go abroad, go visit Paris. That sounds, if I could, I absolutely would. I think it's cool though that they were going again and being another first for the like international, where it's like we were the first Ireland game. We're now a part of
Yeah.
the first Paris game. I think that's really cool to kind of have that footprint in the NFL, but it's because, we're a well-known team. So like this makes sense to me because I think there were talks of like the Browns were a potential to play the Saints in France, and there were a couple other teams, but the Steelers are going to draw people in because they're everywhere. We have a quite the big fan base, so I'm excited. I think this will be pretty cool. What I don't like is that we don't have a bye coming back. So, like,
No, yeah, not
we're
having a bye
and
coming
playing the
off.
Browns.
It's kind of crazy, in
So
all honesty.
I said, "What?" Well, I know because last year I think Mike Tomlin like didn't want the bye when they came back from Ireland because it was so early in the season, which I get. But this international game is actually placed pretty well in the season,
Mhm.
and so why the bye wasn't week 8? I don't love that. And I feel like that puts us at a disadvantage to then come back and play the Browns, where I've already in my mind put the Thursday night game as a loss. So I'm like, we're coming back, we're jumping time zones, like jet lag is a real thing. You're taking a lot of travel time, missing practice time, and then you got to go play your division rival to close out that matchup for the season.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
It's gonna be an interesting one for
Don't.
sure.
I agree with you guys 100% on this. I would have much rather had the bye week there and then play the Browns the week after. But my only solace is that being a home game for Pittsburgh.
True.
You do at least get to sleep in your own bed all week long, get back to your families, get in your normal routines. You would think these guys ought to be able to get back in a normal routine in a day or two, and at least you don't have to travel for that next game. If that was an away game the week after France, I'd be furious.
Yeah,
I would be really mad at the NFL for screwing us over on that one.
absolutely.
So regardless of how France goes, you get to come home and defend what has been a very good streak for you versus the Browns at home. So that is one thing that I'm mixed on this. I'm very mixed because I would have rather had the bye, but if I'm going to have an opportunity to come home from an away game that's all the way overseas like that, I want it to be somebody that I think I have a decent chance of beating at home, and I do believe that's the Browns would be that for us.
Yeah.
So I don't expect Cleveland to be a very good football team again this year. But
No. But they are. This is their year.
no,
Every year.
Absolutely their year. I talk
Every
to
year.
Browns fans all the time. This is their year. And
You
I'm like,
forget. Never mind. I'm not gonna do. I can't. Nope. I'm not gonna get us canceled. Never mind.
you know what? Good job, Cody. Proud of you.
So week 9, obviously the bye week. I like the placement of the bye week. It's much better than
Yes.
way early or way late. That's almost exactly in the middle of the season, so that's not bad. Technically after that it is the middle of the season, so it's kind of there's no real. You can't really put it in the middle because there's an even number of weeks. But week 10. Bengals on Sunday Night Football in Cincinnati is actually going to be a fun one for me. I think that's going to be a good game. I think again, at this point, typically Steelers, if they lose the first matchup with the Bengals, typically have their number in that second matchup, anyways, from historically at least. So I'm looking forward to that one. That should be a good game. At that point, there's a chance that Bengals are fighting for division title as well, depending on how the Ravens and us do. No one's worried about the Browns with that, so that's fine.
And lately the Bengals have been fighting to save their season at this time of the season, right?
Yep.
Lately they've been bad enough at the beginning of the year with either Joe Burrow going down or just playing below expectations that this could be a very pivotal game for them. But I like the fact that we're talking mid-November and there's a possibility of it getting colder at that point. And that is an advantage for Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's built this offensive line. They added another physical running back. They're anticipating trying to be able to dominate as a running football team, knowing that playoff football and late regular season football, it will be required to win. So I think that does give us a possible advantage there with Cincinnati late in the year like that. So yeah, I'm with you guys. That might go well for us, possibly there.
The only thing I don't like is that I wish, like, instead of the Bengals being here, like, I wish that would have been the Ravens. I get why the Ravens are the last game of the season per last year. I get it, unfortunately. Sorry, Ravens fans. But I wish it was a little bit more mixed when it came to AFC or like AFC North teams, where it wasn't just like Browns, but like we're intermixing the Bengals and the Browns, but then we wait till the end of the season for the Ravens. I don't love that. So I wish it would have been like the Ravens up at week 10 with the Bengals down at week 15, and then we could still end with the Ravens. But that's my only qualm with that game.
Yeah, and depending on how competent the Bengals are at this point in the season, this could be the beginning of what would be a very brutal stretch for Pittsburgh.
Oh my gosh, yes.
If they're as good as a lot of people expect them to be, but again, like the Bengals seem to be expected to either win the division or be number 2 every year for like the last 5 years, and they're almost always either last or second to last. So I don't have the same level of expectation. But the following week, going to Philadelphia, playing the Eagles, Pittsburgh has not won in Philadelphia versus the Eagles since 1965.
Oh, that's terrible.
This is 3 years in a row now, I think it was, or 3 years out of the last 5 that we have played against Philadelphia, and all of them have been in Philly.
Yeah, why aren't they coming to us?
This is not supposed to happen with the new scheduling. They're supposed to alternate this stuff. I get it. There's an odd number of teams now and whatnot, but you got to alternate this. The NFL very intentionally favoring the Philadelphia Eagles in this particular matchup, because this should be, if anything, a Steelers home game, because they've had to play the Eagles away twice in a row now. This will be 3 times in a row. Not supposed to go that way.
Nope.
Philly struggled just as mightily going into Pittsburgh, by the way. Not as far back, but they haven't won in Pittsburgh in like over 20 years or 30 years or something.
No, they haven't won in Pittsburgh since 2000.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which
so
it was overtime.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, 20 to 30 years.
Yeah.
So,
All right, that's fair.
I know 2000 wasn't just last year. I know it's weird to wrap your mind around that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I hate this for the fact that Pittsburgh just has not had any luck there. So I pray to God Mike McCarthy can figure some things out that the last 3 head coaches of Pittsburgh have not been able to figure out, because we're talking 65. That's before all the successful coaches in Pittsburgh. Yeah. That's back when we had bad coaches in Pittsburgh was the last time we won in Philly.
Which is just insane to me. Maybe because he's had his nice little stint in Dallas and he just is so fueled with rage that he will come out and be like, I hate the Eagles. We're beating them in Philly.
You know, that's something I hadn't thought about, is there might be a few tricks up his sleeves of things that he had success with while coaching the Cowboys, going against a similar Eagles team. Maybe he can pull some stuff out. Yeah.
I mean, they had to play each other
every year.
He's gone to Philly multiple times.
He's been there at least 3 times, right? He was the head coach for what, 3 years?
3 years.
In Dallas, so he's been there 3 times at least.
So you're saying there's a chance.
That a girl, Jill. Way to add optimism to the show. We need it sometimes.
Well, the Steelers. This is this is how they do it. Maybe again, Mike McCarthy might, with his coaching and how he coaches, it might be totally different. But I look at the back half of this schedule and I'm like, yeah, it's harder. But then arguably we'll probably see some of the best Steeler football because the opponents are more elite. You know, we've talked about how the Steelers play to the level of their opponents. And so I'm looking at the schedule like, man, the back half is rough, but they might play better because the expectation is greater. So.
And we were told last year that the Steelers weren't going to win more than 1 or 2 games in the final 5 or 6, and they went 4-1 in the final 5.
Yep.
So you never know what this team is capable of doing. And you never know how this is going to shape out as far as the season, what the other teams are going to look like. Just because they were good last year doesn't mean they'll be good this upcoming season. Denver being the next matchup after the Philadelphia Eagles, they're a Friday night matchup, which is the Black Friday. So right after Thanksgiving Day, We're talking about a home game for Pittsburgh versus Denver there. So it's another short week. But home against Denver, you would think that kind of levels the playing field a little bit. But Denver been very good the last couple seasons.
Yeah.
Previous to that Bo Nix injury last year, they looked like they would have been a real solid contender in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mike McCarthy also 2-1, or excuse me, 1-2 in his career coaching versus the Broncos. So that's interesting.
Okay.
He beat them in 2011 and then lost in 2015 and lost in 2021. First two games were with Green Bay. Last one was with Cowboys. The Cowboys one was where the Cowboys fell behind 30-0 before scoring 2 late garbage time touchdowns.
Yeah,
So,
Oof.
yeah.
okay.
And hopefully we don't watch that happen.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that right now.
They received
Everyone should be happy from Thanksgiving. We'll be full of turkey and full of good football.
That's the plan.
I'm bringing the optimism today.
It's a real advantage, though, because these guys, Denver's going to have to travel the day before at least. They're going to miss that whole Thanksgiving tradition with their families.
Yeah.
You're going to have to be in Pittsburgh already at that point. So that's definitely an advantage for Pittsburgh. They get to stay home and do all that and then have plenty of time to sleep off all the tryptophan from the day before and then go out there and kick some butt on a Friday night game. So that should be an exciting, a fun matchup. But right back into the fire versus the Texans the week following. Pittsburgh's got a lot to prove against the Texans, that they're better now and that the offensive line can handle this extreme pass rush from the Houston Texans. It's a very difficult defense to defend. And their pass rushers are awesome. It's going to be an awesome test for Maxi Hanachor. I'm assuming or hoping by then he'll be starting on one of the two sides. We'll see what happens with Broderick Jones. Things are looking good for Broderick, apparently, going through the next session of OTAs. He's out there participating. So signs are looking good for him on that front. That being said, your tackles got to play better than they did in the playoffs versus Houston. We didn't get good enough tackle play, and that led to a lot of very effective pass rush on the outside on both sides all game long. So this is going to be a really good test for me. You're talking week 13. You're in the back half of the season, the back quarter almost of the season at that point. Is your team ready to play elite defenses in the playoffs? The Texans are going to tell you whether or not they are.
Yep.
Well, and the pro for us, at least, is you're looking at December at this point. So, and it's in Pittsburgh, so that's cold. It could be very, that gives us some points in our favor, at least, where they're used to their nice warm environment in Texas for the most part.
Yep.
But we're used to playing all these outdoor games in the frigid temperatures. And so they're coming in, having to adjust to a potential cold environment. So that at least gives us. And it'll be a night game. Not only that, it's December and it's a night game. So temperatures could be real chilly.
Well, and then you follow that up with another night game. This time we get to go to the warm weather in Jacksonville. So that's going to be an interesting one on Monday Night Football. A really good, I mean, listen, the team's going to be loving Florida at that time. They're going to be living it up in the sense of getting out of the cold. And even if it's a late winter again, I mean, it's still drastically colder in Pittsburgh than it's going to be in Florida, or at least it should be.
It should be.
But
the biggest thing about
kind of like monsoon season, isn't that when all the hurricanes come?
It might be. It might be. But the biggest thing that I see here between week 12, week 13, and week 14, you go from a Friday game to having almost a week and a half off before a Sunday night game. And then you get a whole 8 days before the Monday night game. And so that's actually, although it's 3 primetime games in a row, but I love the fact that we get that added rest there. And then unfortunately, Monday, you have a short week after that and go play the Ravens at home for their first meeting of the year, which is crazy.
Yeah, a definite advantage for the Ravens there because they're not playing Monday night the week before. So they get a full rest going into the first matchup. We'll see how the season plays out as to whether or not this is an important game. But the last decade or so, it's been Steelers-Ravens coming into the final stretch. And just blows my mind that once again we're talking we don't play the Ravens until week 15 and then play them again to wrap up the season. It also, to me, it screams that the NFL doesn't think the Bengals are going to be as good as a lot of common talk is, because why would we have the matchups with the Ravens both at the end of the season like this, but we're getting the Bengals out of the way by like week 8 or 9 or something?
Yeah,
And the same with the Browns. Yeah, same with the Browns, out of the way by week 10 here. Like,
do you want to know what's interesting about the division, though?
Yeah.
Ravens last 4 weeks are Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Cincinnati, Pittsburgh.
Wow.
Wow. So they really are taking a lot of stock in the Ravens. That's insane.
And honestly, like, if it's the way I expect things to go, that's like giving them 2 bye weeks in between our games.
Yep.
Because the Browns are probably going to be eliminated by then and have nothing to play for. So congratulations. You're going to have Myles Garrett trying to just stat pad like normal at the end of the season. And if Joe Burrow's even healthy, which I doubt it by the end of the year, like, you're going to be going against a backup quarterback in Cincinnati probably. So you really gave them 2 bye weeks in between us playing them.
And their week 17 game is Thursday night, by the way. So they have an extended break before playing.
Oh my gosh.
18. Yeah. The other side of it.
Yeah,
comes out the window, guys.
Yeah, I didn't know that the ownership of the Baltimore Ravens was sleeping with the schedule makers, but so
yikes. Well, I mean, after the Ravens, we get to play the Carolina Kitties.
Yep, the Carolina Kitties.
My brother's gonna be so mad I said that.
The little meow meows.
Oh.
Well, and the interesting part with that game is also to be determined for time and day.
Well, that's because that's Christmas. So I don't think
they want to give us a Christmas game.
I don't think we're playing a Christmas game, but they're probably figuring out what the holiday schedule is.
Yeah.
And that's why those are to be determined. Is my
That checks out. No, that checks out.
Yeah, because depending on how competitive teams are, you might flex it to Christmas instead of, and that would put on a short weekend. Yeah,
those are the weeks where we start seeing those Saturday games again.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and what's Christmas Day? This because we're looking at.
I think is a.
I'm pulling it up right here. Hang on.
It looks like it would be a Friday, probably. Friday.
So I don't think we're slated to have a Christmas game, though. Hold on.
It is a Friday.
Who has the Christmas?
Which would totally suck because that would be 5 games after playing the Ravens.
Yep.
That would be a huge disadvantage for us if that were the case.
The Christmas game is Green Bay Packers at the Bears and the Bills at the Broncos.
Okay, so I assumed the actual Christmas Day game should have been scheduled already, so that makes sense.
Yes. So Christmas Eve and Christmas, because this is all the Netflix stuff.
Okay.
So Christmas Eve is scheduled in Christmas Day, but I'm wondering if this is going to be like, is this a Saturday game or is this a Sunday game?
You're right. That's right.
Where I think we're at.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. This is more flexing depending on whether, because the Panthers don't have a very difficult division, so they could be competing for the lead in the division again. Pittsburgh would be expected to be competing for the division as well, so it could end up a game that gets flexed to try to maximize ratings.
Because if it's a popular game, they'll probably move it to a Saturday, like everybody being off and
and the Steelers and the Bengals Ravens Thursday night game before our week 18 matchup is also New Year's Eve. It's on the 31st.
Oh,
so that'll be an interesting one as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So after the Kitties, we've got the Tennessee Titans.
Love it.
That was just for your brother there.
The Titans game is one I'm actually interested in potentially going to, with being how close I am. It's closer for me to go to Nashville than it is to go to Pittsburgh.
Well, yeah, that makes sense.
But
yeah, being in state and all, absolutely, man. So could be a fun game. I don't know how much better of a team Tennessee is going to be by then than they are right now. At least they have a young, exciting quarterback, and I know they've given him some weapons since last season, so it might be an improved team. But I feel like that's the stretch where Pittsburgh gets to breathe a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Like at the end of the season, once it gets past basically Bengals on, if the Bengals are any good this upcoming season, and that's to be determined like usual, it's pretty difficult until you get to the Panthers-Titans stretch. And that's where the first couple teams are that I think have a chance of actually not being good.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see that. But Titans 1:00 game right now. They don't have a to be decided on that one. I think that kind of tells us all we need to know about their expectations of the Titans.
Yeah. I love a 1:00 game, though. Those are my favorite.
Yeah.
Love
Yeah. Keep me in my routines.
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about how much sleep I get on a Sunday night after a 1:00 game.
The Monday night games are the worst. I petition to never have a Monday night game. I hate those.
Well, we only got one this season, right?
We only have one, but I still don't like it. I'd rather do a Thursday because then at least you wake up on Friday, even if you're mad, the weekend's coming. After a Monday night game, you wake up, it's Tuesday. You still have the rest of the work week. I hate it. It's terrible.
But one thing I hate more than that is going to be the Ravens. And we've got the Ravens again, week 18 again at Baltimore. Tell me if you've heard this story before. So it used to be we always got the Browns at the end of the season because of the rivalry. Obviously, the rivalry with the Ravens is now the dominant story in Pittsburgh. So it just screams to me that the NFL thinks it's going to come down to the Steelers and Ravens. And again, they want that matchup week 18 to have everything on the line, just like it did last season. And just like it worked out well for Pittsburgh last season. No reason to think they can't take down the Ravens again this upcoming season. There's a lot of turnover on that offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And I have heard this story before. I want to see if we can't remember how that.
Oh, that's how that ended.
I thought I knew that from somewhere. I wasn't certain. I just needed a refresher. That's all.
Yeah, needed a quick memory jog there.
Good call out by you. Love to see it. But anything else you guys want to talk about on this schedule before we briefly touch base on the fullback and tight end position battle of this upcoming season?
The things that I want to talk about are going to be more when we talk about early season predictions. I think I will explain my reasoning for that. I did some deep dive digging into stats of the teams we're playing, and there's an interesting thing that I want to discuss when we get to that point, whenever that'll be. So
more than fair. So
well, I was going to say, unfortunately, I have to go because I've got cheer tryouts that I have to get to. So I will talk to you guys. I trust you two to take care of the tight end fullback battle. Make sure you leave your comments, people, for what they say. They're pretty funny. So I want to hear all about this.
All right, Joe. Good luck.
Thank you.
Max Ahana-Chor, tight end 2. Just saying.
Bye.
So to the fullback and tight ends we go. And I think let's just get the obvious out of the way, right? Pat Freiermuth is going to make the team. Darnell Washington is going to make the team. The question becomes, what do they do after that? I feel very strongly about Riley Nowakowski. He was one of my guys pre-draft that I really liked. I think being a draft pick, what was he, the 5th round pick?
Yes.
Yeah, so like that's a high enough investment that you do expect somebody like that to make the team. But the question is, do they keep another guy or not? And is he on the roster? Because I think there's a decent chance he isn't, Cody. Because outside of those 3 guys, we're talking Jaheim Bell, who they just signed, who was a practice squad guy last year, more of that fullback size than a tight end size. He's 6'2", 240 and change. The other one, J.J. Galbraith, a returning practice squad guy from last year. J.J., again, more of a receiving tight end, 6'4", 240. Lake McRae, a receiving tight end who was signed as an undrafted free agent after the draft this year. And then Shimon Mateer, a bigger guy, 6'4", 255, maybe a little bit more of a blocking tight end. So what are they looking for? And is it any of these guys? I think there's a decent chance, Cody, we're going to be talking about somebody that makes this roster that gets cut from another team.
Yep. No, I'm right there with you. I don't think – I mean, obviously, Jaheim Bell being in the practice squad last year and then bringing him back shows you they liked something. But at the same time, this is I'm not as familiar with the Mike McCarthy offense and how he might want to do things. I mean, if you have Darnell and Pat, And then obviously you hang on to the Riley Nowakowski, which all of us are big on because he can play both fullback, running back, and tight end. Is there a chance they only keep 3?
Yeah.
Is that I'm almost leaning towards that over us having a 4th guy from a different team. I don't think another tight end on this team will make the team. But I'm almost more asking the question of, will they just not keep a 4th one on the team? Stash one away on a practice squad, whether it's Bell or whether you bring someone in from another team and then put them on the practice squad. That's more of what I'm interested in over bringing somebody in for that 3rd position, because if you're in a 3, I can't imagine you're going to be in a 3 tight end set with a fullback. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if you are, we have defensive guys that you can put in that fullback position that just have to run and move the pile forward.
Well, and I think instead of that, you're probably looking at what we saw last year. Pittsburgh used a lot of 6th offensive linemen, and Spencer Anderson was very effective at that. So in a goal line situation where you need 3 tight ends and you need a fullback also, let Riley Nowakowski play his fullback position, but just use Spencer Anderson as the 3rd tight end, and a guy that if you are going to throw the ball, you just keep him as a pass protector, send the other guys out on routes. I think you're onto something here. I think there's a chance that we have 2 true tight ends, Riley Nowakowski kind of double duty as the fullback / tight end. Yep. And then when you need to go big formation, just bring one of these other offensive linemen. I mean, what if Broderick Jones makes a full recovery? He's healthy for this upcoming season, but Maxi Onachor beats him out for the starting job. But we got Broderick Jones. Why would you not want to play Broderick Jones as your 6th offensive lineman in short yardage situations? I think he'd be incredible for that. Yep. Obviously, you don't want your 1st-round draft pick to be reduced to that kind of role, but you're not going to just sit him on the bench and never play him either. Nope. So I don't know, man. I think that there's enough talent on this offensive line that you can use some of these guys as an extra tight end, as a 6th offensive lineman in these short yardage situations. And I don't see the point of, unless you can bring somebody in at this stage that somebody gets cut that you really liked in the pre-draft process, or is a year or 2 in the league and that team just went a different direction and you had a really high evaluation on them. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just these 3 right now.
It could be. It could, and like I said, that's what I'm leaning towards. In all honesty, I know that that's probably a hot take. I'm curious to see what Steelers Depot and some of those other guys that do those 53-man roster predictions do. I think Alex already did his way too early one, actually.
Yeah, I think he did.
But yeah, I don't see the point. We have the talent in the wide receiver room that it's not like you're worried about having a wide receiver out there that's starting and not being able to block. I mean, Michael Pittman Jr. is going to block. Jeremy Bernard's going to block. DK Metcalf is going to either block or make a guy think he's getting thrown to. The guy's just going to follow him like a sad puppy. We've seen that before. I'm not worried about that 3rd tight end position. I'm not, which is crazy because in the past it's been like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? 3 tight end set. Now I'm just like, whatever.
Yeah, and I think it opens up more room at the running back position too, because there's been a lot of years previously that we only carried 3 running backs going into the regular season. And I'll be surprised if they do that this year. I think it's going to be 4. And I think it's because of the talent in the room that you're going to have a hard decision between those final 3 guys. We talked about this on last week's show with Caleb Johnson, with Travis Homer, with Eli Heidenreich. Like, how do you make your decision between these guys? I think it's going to be a lot more difficult than we realize, and the easiest way to make sure that you can keep 4 of them is by only carrying 3 tight end / fullbacks. Yep. You're not going to short the wide receiver room. You need at least 6 of those dudes. We're going to see a lot of 3 wide receiver sets, so you're going to need to have at least 6 dudes in that room.
Yeah, and the skill positions on defense, they're not going to short either. They can't. Yeah, honestly.
Yeah, it's going to be a very difficult decision when we get to that defensive line room, too. That's going to be a fun conversation because the top of the room, pretty secure. Back of the room, there's a lot of young dudes that are going to be fighting for that job. But next week, we're going to talk wide receivers on the position battle. Another fun conversation. Another one where I think that we've got some clarity at the top and a lot of question marks at the bottom. Yep. So that's going to be a fun conversation. Make sure you don't miss on it. But don't forget to tell us who you would keep in this fullback and tight end room. How many guys? Which ones? We'd love to hear it. We're going to tell you feedback from that next week, just like we've done the last 2 shows.
Yeah. Can't thank you guys enough for being here. Be sure to like and follow on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Subscribe, ring the bell. It's free. Doesn't cost you a thing. Don't forget the 5-star reviews and Apple Podcasts. Make James and all the rest of us on the show very happy. And until next time, this is your hosts, James and Cody, and Jill, who was here earlier, and Nick, who's from the woods now. Signing off.
Peace.